Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our weekly editorial analysis. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everyone. Hi everyone. Can you hear and see me very clearly, everybody? Good evening. How are you guys doing today? Good evening, everyone. If you could quickly confirm that I'm clearly visible and audible, I shall start with the session. Yeah, I think clearly. Hi, Editor Choice. Hi, Roosters. Good to see you back. Hi, Anuja. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to you. Good evening, Dharmi. I think yes, Chinta. Thank you so much. Good to see you back. All right, guys. So good to see you after 2 weeks because last Wednesday I did not take this class. I was in the process of relocating to a new place, so I did not have my studio with me. I had to set up the studio again, and that's why a week's break in between. I have a good news for all of you. I'll tell you the good news after some time, after I have the maximum number of people in the class. But before that, and I'm glad to see all of you back, glad to be waiting for me. And what are we going to do in the class today? So basically the agenda of the class is that we have a recap of the important articles of the week that has gone by. We take 2 articles that appeared in the last few days and we try to discuss them. The articles could be from various sources. And I'll tell you what the articles, where the sources are, what the sources are. We'll take out the vocabulary from both the articles. We'll try to memorize the words. In the end, your homework is that you comment under my video in the comment section and you tell me the tone of the author. I shall check each of the tone and we will be discussing the summary of each article after each article ends. We will also try to make inferences. Sometimes I bring questions for you where I make questions from the editorial. Sometimes I don't. Today we do not have questions, but we have 2 very interesting articles. Specifically the second one, and you very likely have not read the second article. So it's a brilliant one. You're going to have a lot of fun reading the second article. Okay, the jaldi say first, let's start with the vocabulary of the class. Okay, so the vocabulary that I bought has been picked up out of the 2 articles that I have. Not very difficult vocabulary, but a lot of inference. Reading between the lines will be done. I'll be asking you sometimes, what can you infer from a specific line that I've underlined? So you have to answer there. And make sure this is an interactive class. Make sure you reply to me because if you don't, it's going to be a monotonous class for me. You have to make it interesting for me as well. So here we start with the first slide of vocabulary and rather the only slide of vocabulary. Imagine 2 articles में से सिर्फ एक slide. मतलब language बहुत simple है, but बहुत सारा hidden inference है. Okay, tread is how you walk. Your way of walking is treading. So basically you can say he tread fast, he would tread fast, he would tread slow, he would tread swiftly. That means how he is walking, that's treading. So Rosa trod as lightly as she could. Basically her walking style was slowly and lightly. So tread is your way of walking. That's the first one. The second word that we have, metaphor. Okay, can you guys give me an example of a metaphor? That's a figure of speech. I'm sure आपने school में पढ़ा था metaphor क्या होता है. Can you give me an example of a metaphor, everyone? What's a metaphor? Metaphor is basically an indirect comparison. I'll explain that later on. I'll first like to know the answers from you. Can you give me an example of a metaphor? Anybody, think of it. You'll usually see metaphors in poems. Anyone, any example of a metaphor? Okay, I'm going to write down something. Tell me if that is a metaphor, okay? She is like the lioness of the class. Is that a metaphor? She is like the lioness of the class. Is that a metaphor? Yes? No? Is that a metaphor, everyone? She is like the lioness of the class. Hope shines like bright light. पता है क्या हो रहा है? Neither, jokes apart, neither is your sentence a metaphor, neither is mine. Your and mine are similes. Difference क्या था? Simile में you use words like and as and so to draw similarity between two unrelated things. In the absence of these, when there is an indirect comparison, that's when it's a metaphor. So she is the lioness of the class, metaphor. She is like the lioness of the class, that's simile. Okay, so this is not, she is like the lioness is not a metaphor, that's a simile. Hope shines like bright light is also an example, jokes apart, of a simile. That's not a metaphor. Okay? So metaphor is basically an indirect comparison without using words like or as or so. When you compare, that's when you have a metaphor. Okay? The next one is a heist. I'm sure you've seen Money Heist. Yes, Rohit. Yes, you're comparing the bravery here. Correct. Okay, now I'm sure you've seen Money Heist. What happened there? It was a big robbery. Okay, the heist is a robbery. A diamond heist, a big robbery of diamonds. That's a heist. The next word is conscience. Conscience is your heart telling you, not your mind, not the laws, but your heart telling you this is right and this is wrong. Morality telling you what is right and what is wrong is conscience. So the law says you can't murder anybody. That's law. That's not conscience. But I know I can't hurt anybody. I know if there's a thirsty person, I'll offer him water. That's my conscience telling me. There's no law made for that. Okay. So a person's moral sense of right and wrong viewed as acting as a guide to one's behavior. आपका behavior guide करता है आपका conscience. ठीक है? So he had a guilty conscience about his desires. Maybe he felt bad about his desires. That's conscience. Okay. The next one, culpability. So, do we have lawyers in the class? Anyone watching me live? No? Culpability, culprit, same root word. Basically, somebody who has done something wrong, who is worthy of deserving blame and punishment is culpability. The level of moral culpability, morally, have you done something wrong? Can you be blamed for that? Are you at fault? That's the culpability of something. If you're a culprit, you've done something wrong. You will receive blame for that. That's culpability. So this is our slide. Please take a screenshot of that so that we can revise it very quickly. Okay. 2. If you attend my classes live on YouTube, you have to pay me Guru Dakshina for that. And my Guru Dakshina is that you like my session right away and you share it. Okay. So every time you come live for my classes, please like that right away and please share it. Please share it with as many people as possible. Okay. That's how you're going to aid me. Now, let me tell you the good news I was referring to before I start with the first article today. The good news is that May 1st week onwards, we shall have these classes every single day. I would want suggestions from you. What time should I start these classes at? Every single day? Should it be in morning? Should it be in the night? Morning 10 a.m. is fine. Morning 11 a.m. is fine. I would like suggestions from you. Every day we would start with our editorial classes, May 1st week onwards. So I would want your suggestions of the timing. So what do you think should be an appropriate timing according to you? I'll wait for your answers and then I'll move to the first article here. Everyone, what is your desired timing? Quick, quick, quick. Please keep your hands on your keypad while you're attending my classes. I need a lot of answers from you. Looks like you don't need daily classes. Okay, let's move to the article then. But before that, if you're targeting CAT 2022, a new comprehensive program batch has been launched. You can enroll yourself right away. This is the number of our counselors. Join before it's too late, because you don't have a lot of time left for CAT 2022, and this is the best program that you're looking for. We have 135 plus live sessions, 90 plus topics are covered in 3 sessions per subject, total of 300 plus recorded sessions. much more. So make sure you join it as soon as possible. This article is from the Guardian. Okay, that's the first article from Guardian. Okay, so morning is okay, evening 8 p.m., 11 a.m., 6 to 7 p.m. Okay, noted. This article is from the Guardian. Okay, and it says your views on nature tourism, tread lightly. That is, walk slowly, walk lightly, move lightly. What does it talk about? Now, before I start with the article, answer my question. When you go to a touristy place, when you travel to a place, what are you looking for? Why do you travel there? What are you looking for? Okay, that's a difficult timing, Chinta, but I'll try. Morning and evening still look fine to me. Okay. Now, while you're traveling to a touristy place, you're going to a place, what are you looking for there? Why would you travel there? What are you trying to find there? Answer this to me. Everyone, are you looking for relaxation? Are you looking for nature? Are you looking for monuments, something new? Okay. Monuments, something refreshing, adventure sports. Yeah. Okay. So, while people travel, they look for many things. And then come into the scene the wonders of the world. You know, maximum tourists visit these places, the wonders of the world. Why would they visit that? Because they offer something that's unique. Okay. And it's a wonder of the world. So the Greek historian Herodotus is said to have made one of the earliest lists of the 7 wonders of the world. These were man-made structures including still mysterious feat of ancient horticulture known as the Hanging Gardens of the Babylon. So the list was wonders of the world, and these were 7 wonders, all were man-made. For example, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. More recent times saw natural alternatives to these marvels. So if I have to see Hanging Gardens of Babylon, can I not just go to a forest maybe and have a look at the natural beauty? It may not exactly show me hanging gardens, but may give me the exact same pleasure. So we have a lot of natural alternatives to the popular touristy places of the world. And like these gardens would offer waterfalls, mountains, canyons, reefs, all of these natural alternatives are available. Maybe not all together, but they will be available somewhere around you. So if you are in India, you can easily access all of these things. Not many canyons, but yes, you certainly will be able to access them. Dramatic landscape features and wildlife and the pleasure and excitement they offer to visitors are staple to tourism. That is, when a tourist goes to a touristy place, he wants landscape, beauty, wildlife, pleasure of excitement, all of that. And these are staples to tourism. Understood this part? Yes? Now what happens? What is the author trying to say here? So he's saying all of this is available around you. So as people get more conscious about environment and the consciousness has increased in the West, attitudes to such sightseeing have changed. How has it changed? If you are conscious about the environment, you probably would not spend a lot of money to go to far-flung places, take a long flight, add on to the carbon emission. If things are, or probably take a long bus, train, if things are available around you, why would you add on to the carbon footprint in the earth? Yes, it is thrilling to visit remote forests and spot rare species, but traveling to far-flung destinations is carbon intensive when flights or long road journeys are involved. So the author says when you have alternatives, why do you go to far places, take a long road journey or a long flight? All of this is carbon intensive, and conservation can be made more difficult as well as assisted by sightseers. So अगर आप sightseer हो, आप और difficult बनाते हो चीजों को by taking long flights and long road journeys. You know, सबके मन में होता है ना, I want to have a road trip to Goa. with my friends. I'll not take a flight or a train. I'll take a road trip with my friends. Not from Mumbai, no. From Delhi maybe. I'll drive down. But then are we adding to the carbon emission? Probably yes. There's a balance to be struck. The ethical governments and the businesses around the world try to maximize the benefit while minimizing the harm. How are the governments trying to maximize the benefit? How? In this line, the ethical governments and businesses, how will they maximize the benefit while minimize the harm? How will they do that? I'd like to know the answer from you. आपसे आंसर चाहिए मुझे. कैसे कोई भी एक एथिकल गवर्नमेंट टूरिज्म में बेनिफिट को मैक्सिमाइज कर सकती है और हार्म्स को मिनिमाइज कर सकती है? हाउ? Yeah. Who's going to answer this? How? So they will maximize the profit by calling tourists, okay? And they will minimize the harm by promoting local tourism. Harm to the environment. They will minimize the harm by promoting local tourism so that low carbon emission is created. So tourist से income आ रही है लेकिन carbon emission कम हो रहा है, तो maximum profit with minimum harm. Okay, that's exactly what the author says here. For example, Colombia recently introduced laws aimed at promoting sustainable tourism. What Colombia did? They made places, tourist places, sustainable tourist places. So everything is recycled there. It's carbon emission free, and you have e-bikes there, and that's their law. Although Colombia बहुत अच्छी condition में नहीं है अभी, but let's talk about tourism. They have a brilliant law. I'm sure you know about what is happening. Yes, e-rickshaws, ecotourism, absolutely. Yes. And yes, roosters, attracting people is the benefit and ecotourism is the minimizing the loss. Absolutely correct. So most of us, in the rich countries where people take most holidays, अब देखो कितनी खराब line है ये. I'll tell you why is the line bad. It says most of us in the rich countries. It's a Guardian article. It's a West paper, है ना? Not waste, West का paper है ना? So basically it says हम जो rich countries के लोग हैं, हम तो सब छुट्टियां ले लेते हैं, हम environment को बहुत अच्छा समझते हैं, हम जो rich nations हैं. Do you like the line? It basically says we are rich nations and we understand the environment better now. We take almost all our holidays and there are costs as well as benefits associated with exploring. Benefit to our mind, benefit to the industry. One of the 6 pledges proposed by an environmental campaign launched last month. The jump is to holiday local. So basically it says in US, holiday local is promoted. It says take short haul flights once every 3 years and long haul flights very, very rarely, only when it is needed. So it promotes local holidaying. Go to nearby places. Don't add on to the carbon emission. Fortunately, the UK's 15 national parks, 86 areas of outstanding natural beauty, and countless other landscapes that are without formal status but beloved nonetheless. कोई formal status नहीं है. जैसे Taj Mahal, it has a formal status. People go there to visit. These places, these 15 national parks and 86 areas don't have any formal status, but they offer impeccable beauty. And there is no shortage of special places for domestic nature tourist visit. You know, I'll tell you something from my personal point of view. I've been traveling intensively in the last 10 years. I've traveled rather a lot. I've traveled more than 11 countries and I've extensively traveled India as well, extensively. There's none of the states that I haven't traveled extensively. And by my point here, because I've already visited 11 plus countries, including maximum of India, the amount of touristy or beauty or variety India offers you, it has everything. You don't have to go out ever. I haven't taken an international flight in the last 4 years. I don't have a need to. So amount of beauty it offers. You don't have to go out. We have beaches, we have mountains, we have canyons, we have national parks, we have everything. So domestic nature tourists, we have ample of places, while a host of your beauty spots are accessible by train. और हम पूरा India easily train से access कर सकते हैं. Absolutely yes. Thus, one recent survey found that Windsor Great Park and Kew have become Britain's most popular attractions, while COVID has created difficulties for indoor spaces which do not apply to outdoor ones. Nothing important here. Visitor numbers at wildlife trusts are high, while waiting list for beaver spotting. That is, people are trying to go local because of COVID. Some companies that formerly ran foreign trips, जो tourist agencies थी, उनका काम था foreign trips book कराएंगे, Maldives honeymoon package book कराएंगे and Europe tour book कराएंगे. These companies who majorly ran foreign trips, they have adapted after the pandemic. They have adopted to watch dolphins and other marine life. So basically, they've adopted to local tourist, local tourism. They are promoting local tourism. They are providing you trips to local touristy places instead of the international ones. That means things are changing. Hi Rajiv, late हो गए आज. Roosters, आप भी करोगे? I started doing it after I started teaching. I've been teaching for the last 12 years, you know that. तो 11 country हो जाता है. आपको नहीं पता ना मैं कौन से country से classes ले रही हूँ. You don't know that, right? That's the beauty of teaching online. I can sometimes take a class from Goa, sitting on a beach maybe, and sometimes take a class from Nainital, sitting along the lake. That's the beauty of teaching online. Let's go back to the passage. This is not to minimize the destruction of the nature that is also taking place. So, if you are traveling extensively to far-flung places, you are also creating a lot of destruction to the climate. Now see, let's get back to the idea of the Guardian articles. Have you seen Guardian lately has focused so much on climate change? If you see the Guardian articles, almost every 2 days you have one article on climate change. It could be the COP26, it could be the Glasgow meet, it could be a report coming out about climate change. So, Guardian has been focusing a lot on climate change, and that's exactly why this article is here. The owner of a popular rewilded estate in Kep has warned that plans to build a 3,500 homes next to. So basically, ये explanation है, ये सिर्फ data है, ये necessary नहीं है पढ़ना. It's only data that if you aid tourism that's international, it can be catastrophic for species and people who live there. Don't make something very, very popular. So, but as we confront an environmental emergency that grows even more dangerous, it is essential to cultivate appreciation for the nature that surrounds us. Take a walk to a lake nearby your home. Take a 2-hour drive to a national park if it's near your home. In a small way, holiday outings to watch dragonflies, kingfishers or seals, or be surrounded by trees that are coming into leaf could help focus on what matters. What matters? Controlling the climate change matters. Reducing the carbon emission matters. So, appreciate the beauty that's around you, the natural beauty. Okay, now I'm winding this article up. You have to write down the tone of the article under my video in the comment section. I shall check it. And the gist of the article is that what matters is controlling the climate change. We need to add minimum to the carbon emission, and thus if you link it to tourism, tourism needs to be more local, less international if you have to protect the climate. That's the gist of the article here. Okay, now let's move on to the next article. It's a brilliant one. Let me have a sip of water first. I'll have a sip of water. तब तक आप मुझे बताओ, how's life going on? How are studies going on? Don't tell me if you just broke up. Tell me how are studies going on. Are you reading daily, everyone? रोज पढ़ रहे हो, read कर रहे हो, newspapers पढ़ रहे हो? Which newspaper are you reading? Tell me that. You answer this and then I'm going to move to the next article. You're going to love that article. It's super funny. Yeah. So, are you reading daily? Which newspaper are you reading daily? Quick, people, quick. So, can I assume you don't? Okay, TOI. Okay. Okay. Others, can I assume you don't read daily? Yes. Times of India. Okay, let me give you a suggestion here. Let me give you a suggestion. I would want you to graduate, not from your college, but from Times of India. Move on to a better newspaper. Choose. Let me show you. Choose between the Hindu, the Guardian, the NY Times, or the Indian Express. Aeon, possibly 2 articles every week. Every day Aeon posts 1 article. You can probably read 2 articles every week. Okay. Now, I will obviously be taking these classes once a week, and then 1st of May onwards, I'll be coming every day. So, I'll be covering up the important articles from any of these sources daily. But apart from that, I expect you to read daily as well. Okay. Economic Times as well. Yes, I mentioned, forgot to mention that. ET as well. Okay. The Hindu, brilliant. Brilliant, Chitta. Just stick to it. Okay. So that's my suggestion. And make sure you come regularly to the classes so that you don't miss out on the important articles. Let's have a look at the. Okay. So there's a video viral ho gaya tha. A driverless car which is stopped by a policeman for a challan. But वो चालान किसका कटेगा? Who will be challan for it? There's no driver. But is the article so simple? Is it only about a viral video where there was a driverless car and there's a police stopping it for a challan? No, the article is not so simple. It's a metaphor. This whole situation is a metaphor for big techs. Let's understand what is the parallel story going on. I'm sure you've read Animal Farm. What is Animal Farm? If you've read Animal Farm, Roosters, this article is from the Indian Express. If you've read Animal Farm, you would know that Animal Farm has a parallel metaphorical story going on. It's not only about animals. There's an indirect hinting on something else, a dystopian world. Something else, some other revolution happening. ये वैसी ही story है. So it's not only about a driverless car being stopped by the police for a challan. It's a metaphor. Let's try to understand what is the metaphor here. Okay, what's hidden here? It could have been an April Fool's joke or perhaps even a scene from a B-grade horror flick. कि driver नहीं है, गाड़ी चल रही है. It's like a horror flick. In a dimly lit street on a dark night. Sounds spooky and scary. The police stop a car for driving without its headlights on. They try to stop it. The car has no driver, no intention behind the wheel. Why do I say no intention behind the wheel? I say no intention behind the wheel because for catching somebody, putting a challan on them, there has to be an intention. For violating a crime, there has to be an intention. For making you a culprit, there has to be an intention. But there was no intention behind the wheel. Was it a ghost, a joke, a heist, a la Ocean's 11? What's Ocean's 11? Have you seen the movie Ocean's 11? Yes. It's basically a heist where 11 people are hired for carrying out a heist. That's the movie Ocean's 11. So the author is asking, what was it? That driverless car. Was it a ghost, a joke, a height like Ocean's 11? Allah is, this means like Ocean's 11. In the stage of Silicon Valley miracles, it could be all of the above or none of them. That is right now what happens at Silicon Valley with so many things happening and so many developments happening and so many inventions happening. This driverless car could be all of this. It could be a joke, a ghost, a heist, or it could possibly be none of them. Earlier this month in San Francisco, police stopped a self-driving car. Now starts the funny part. Dekho kya hua? And the video of the incident recorded by a bystander went viral. Bystander khada hoke dekh raha tha, he was watching it, he recorded, and the video went viral. The technology, of course, has been around for some years now. We've always heard of the cars without drivers, right? We've heard of them. Though not in widespread use by the consumers, we've heard about driverless cars. But have you seen them with your own eyes? I haven't. I've seen them in viral videos. I haven't seen them with my own eyes. I'm sure most of you haven't done that either. So the offending vehicle is seen to be driving away from the cops. You know what it did? The cops tried to stop the car, and उस कार में इतना दिमाग था, उस AI में इतना दिमाग था, the AI had so much of mindfulness that the AI made the car drive away from the cops. भाग रही थी वो, it was running away so that it could not be challan. Something like you and I would do, so that the police cannot challan us. We would not stop. We would just try to run away, dodge them. That's exactly what the car did. Imagine the AI and its intelligence. That is what happened. But अभी तक metaphor समझ में नहीं आया कि metaphor है क्या? अभी तक कहानी ही चल रही है. The story is going on. We haven't understood what the metaphor is here. What's the hidden meaning here? Let's try to figure that out. But even if it hadn't run away, can it be held responsible? Who will you hold responsible? Who will you challan? There is no driver. Can you challan the AI? Have you heard of the phrase vicarious liability? Have you heard of the phrase? Do you know what that means? Vicarious liability. Tell me that. Do you know of the phrase vicarious liability? Yes, do you know the meaning? What does that mean? What is vicarious liability? If I have a chauffeur, you don't know that? If I have a chauffeur, a driver for my car, and the car meets with an accident, who is responsible? I or the driver? I, the car owner. I am vicariously liable. Who owns the car? Exactly, Rohit. Who will be send the challan? There's no driver. The people who are making the AI, should they be held responsible? You made the AI. AI has its own mind. But who made the AI is vicariously liable for it. Are they not? Should we have laws to hold these people responsible? That is the idea of the entire passage. So, who can be held responsible? We don't know. After all, just as tigers cannot commit murder, tiger ने किसी को attack किया, some human, you can't hold the tiger responsible for murder. Kangaroos cannot be held responsible for burglary. Similarly, a car without a driver cannot be charged with traffic violation. Can it? No. Guilt, innocence, and liability require moral. AI does not have morals. If the AI is guilty or innocent or liable, you can't decide that because it's AI. It's artificial intelligence. It doesn't have morals. Right? But then who is responsible? The one making it is responsible. Apart from being the subject to a viral video, the offending car is an apt metaphor for the crimes and the lack of punishment for the Silicon Valley tech giants. Silicon Valley tech giants, Facebook, Google, Twitter, their makers, are they responsible for anything? A few months back, an article about Facebook became very popular. A whistleblower, an ex-employee of Facebook, said Facebook deliberately does not hide those posts that increases communal violence and riots in India because these posts get views and likes. Is FB responsible? Yes. Do we have laws to hold FB responsible? No. Is FB at all punished for it? No. So, these Silicon Tech Valley giants are responsible. But sue kisko kare? Punish kisko kare? Driverless car hai. So, the metaphor is like a driverless car violates the law, but you don't know who to challan. These Tech Valley giants make some mistakes, but you don't know who to challan or who to hold responsible. कौन गलत है आपको नहीं पता. That's the whole idea of it. That's the whole metaphor comparison of this driverless car to the Silicon Valley giants committing irregularities or crimes, and there's no punishment for them. And जब हम Silicon Valley giants की बात करते हैं, we of course will talk about the recent information and news going rounds about Elon Musk. I'm sure you know what is happening. So I'll not talk about the GK here. Let's get back to the article. The conscience and culpability of companies are exported to all powerful algorithm. So these companies, these tech giants, they have no conscience. They have no culpability. They want to be the most powerful, all powerful one. Somehow though, the profits seem to accrue only to the billionaires. The billionaires are becoming more rich and richer every day at the cost of us, who have set their sights on wealth and on privatizing heavens. What does privatizing heavens mean? These giants and the owners, they're like, ye swarg mera hai, this heaven is mine. I'm going to privatize it. You can't enjoy this. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to enjoy all the luxury at your own cost. So, misinformation, effects on mental health, even political coups of sorts have been laid at the door of AI. That is, AI does not do anything. We blame the AI. AI ने किया ये. कोई भी misinformation को control नहीं किया. Facebook ने. क्यों नहीं किया? मैंने नहीं किया. AI ने किया. The AI is responsible for controlling misinformation. It did not. Our mental health was disturbed. Not because of Facebook or Instagram or Google or Twitter. It was disturbed because of the AI. Do you remember the toolkit that happened last year? Do you remember that? The toolkit. How many of you remember this? Let me see. Let me see if you've been reading newspapers regularly. Do you remember the toolkit? I'll not talk about the political side of that. I'll talk about the implication of that toolkit from the perspective of this article. Do you remember toolkit, anyone? Yes, no, say at least something so that I know you're not sleeping. Nobody remembers toolkit? I'll tell you something. Please read the newspaper very carefully. You have to sit for interviews. Merely clearing cat is not enough. You need to know about what's happening around the world. Please read the newspapers very, very carefully. Okay? So, toolkit. It was an example of a political coup. Trump's victory was also an example of social media playing with the minds of people. Political coup. You don't pronounce it as coup, it's pronounced as coup. Okay? So political coup. Trump's victory के लिए भी हम social media को ही responsible मानते हैं. Big tech is still just a driverless car with no one to challan. That's the metaphor. A big tech is like a driverless car. We don't know who to challan, who to hold responsible. A ghost, a joke, or a marvel of technology. It could be all, it could be none. What is the gist of the passage, everyone? What's the summary? I am waiting to know this from you. What's the summary, everybody? What's the summary? Summary बताओ और ये बताओ मेरा वीडियो शेयर किस किसने किया है? How many of you have shared my video? What's the summary in one line? Would you like to write that under my video in the comment section? I'll wait for that. So I'll wait for your answers about the summary and the tone of the author here under my video in the comment section. The first summary was easy. The second one is a little tricky. I'm going to check each one of the answers. Make sure you comment under my video in the comment section. Also, please like the video, comment under my video, share my video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Do that right away. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, and download our app on Google Play. So we are available all of these places. Okay, so that is all for today, everyone. I shall see you again next Wednesday, and inshallah, very likely from the next week onwards, every single day. We'll decide on the timing. We'll shoot a poll for this. And that is all for tonight, everybody. Good night. And thank you for coming live with me. Have a very, very good night. God bless all of you.